On the night of October 20th, 2025, the sounds of conflict echoed through the Russian town of Klincy. Air raid sirens blared as residents witnessed flashes in the sky. Local social channels quickly filled with videos and first-hand accounts. Posts showed fiery trails of anti-aircraft fire and the aftermath of impacts on the ground. Reports indicated several buildings sustained damage. A teenage boy was reportedly injured by shrapnel and treated at the scene. The regional governor, Alexander Bogomaz, later confirmed the incident, describing it as a vile attack by Ukrainian forces on civilians. This was the story from the ground: chaos, damage, and fear. However, a very different account soon emerged from Moscow. The Defense Ministry issued a formal statement about the Bryansk region. According to the ministry, only 2 Ukrainian drones crossed into Russian airspace, and both were successfully intercepted by air defense systems. The report stated there were no injuries and no damage. It painted a picture of a minor, failed incursion, handled with efficiency. These 2 versions of the same event could hardly be more different. One depicts a successful attack causing real harm and alarm. The other, a perfectly neutralized threat with no consequences. This contrast is not an isolated occurrence. It reflects a recurring pattern in the information war. The gap between local experience and central reporting is widening. For the Kremlin, this divergence poses a fundamental challenge. Real-time evidence shared by citizens is harder to contain. Klincy is a microcosm of a broader phenomenon. As strikes escalate, the narrative of a safe, distant war is being tested. The drone attack on Klincy on October 20th was not an isolated event. It is part of a sustained and escalating series of strikes targeting the Bryansk region in recent weeks. Ukraine appears to be conducting a methodical campaign aimed at disrupting Russia's military and economic infrastructure. High-value targets have been systematically hit. On September 29th, Ukrainian forces reportedly struck the Electro-Dedal factory in Karachov. The facility produces vital electronic components for the military, including parts for aircraft and other advanced hardware. Ukraine's general staff claimed responsibility to reduce enemy capabilities. Explosions and fires were widely recorded. Damage appeared extensive across the site. On October 6th, a more ferocious wave hit Bryansk. Missiles struck a major thermal power plant in Klincy, causing significant damage, and cut heat to a large portion of residents as cold set in. An electrical substation was also hit, as was a Druzhba network oil pumping station. Disrupting oil flow threatens a key economic lifeline. On October 19th, saboteurs reportedly destroyed a communications tower in the Zhukov district, cutting vital surveillance and radio links for border troops. These are not random blows. They are precise and targeted at critical nodes. Cumulatively, the effect is significant. They create logistical bottlenecks and complicate supply lines, reducing output of essential war materials. Energy strikes impose direct economic costs and disruptions. Each attack forces Russia to divert air defenses inward, potentially weakening posture at the front. It is a strategy of 1,000 cuts from within, a war of attrition fought in trenches. The stark difference between Kremlin statements and local reports reveals a strategy of information control. Moscow often downplays or denies Ukrainian successes on Russian soil to project strength, competence, and control. By claiming drones were shot down and no damage sustained, the ministry aims to reassure the public, the impression, an impenetrable homeland and a plan proceeding smoothly. But this top-down strategy now clashes with bottom-up information. Local agencies and the regional governor paint a different picture: damage and civilian injuries. His Telegram channel shows damaged buildings and wounded civilians, directly contradicting sanitized versions. Local officials cannot deny what people see for themselves. When a power plant burns and homes lose heat, reality is undeniable. The proliferation of smartphones and Telegram makes truth harder to contain. Videos of explosions spread within minutes, providing visual evidence. Traditional narrative control is less effective in the digital age. Contradictory streams erode trust in official sources. People must choose distant ministries or their own neighbors and leaders. Lived experience is starting to outweigh televised assurances. Why is Ukraine striking inside Russia? The primary objective is military. Targets include facilities like electronics plants and ammunition depots to degrade Russia's ability to wage war. Disrupting production slows essential hardware and logistics. Strikes on fuel and pipelines slow troop movement to the front. A second objective is economic. Attacking energy reduces revenue and capacity. Shortages force costly repairs and strain public patience. There is also a psychological dimension, shattering the illusion of safety. When sirens sound far from the front, the war becomes personal. Fear and disruption seed doubt and discontent. As anxiety grows, sustaining consensus becomes harder. Bryansk has become a focal point for strategic reasons. Its geography places it within range of drones and short-range missiles. Proximity enables cross-border raids and quick strikes. It is a critical transit and logistics corridor. The region hosts military and industrial targets, including large depots. Forests and wetlands offer cover for covert operations. Sabotage, like the reported tower attack, exposes security gaps. The terrain is difficult to patrol end-to-end. Proximity, industry, and terrain make Bryansk a new front. It is no longer just a rear area, it is contested. The frequency of strikes has reportedly tripled. Residents live under a constant threat of attack. For over 1 million residents, daily life is transformed by anxiety. Air raid sirens have become routine. Explosions are heard from their own windows. The injury in Clincy brings the danger into sharp focus. Power and heat outages ripple through homes and schools and shutter local businesses. Local authorities juggle emergency repairs and aid distribution. Pressure strains relations with Moscow's calm messaging. Bogomaz's denunciations admit attacks and damage. Contradictions create cracks in the facade of unified control. Local sources and citizen footage gain credibility. The truth on the ground is harder to suppress. Sustained strikes are shattering the illusion of safety. Evidence, smoke plumes, damage photos, outage reports is undeniable. Citizen media chips away at state narratives. Fear and frustration can shift public opinion over time. Bryansk is a bellwether. Admissions and citizen videos define a new reality. The Kremlin can no longer fully control the narrative.